Now, let's deal with another issue related to the issue of women, because that's a culturally sensitive issue related to the Da Vinci Code, and that's the claims about the divine feminine. And one of these we've actually already covered, and that is the role of Sophia, or Pistis Sophia, the divine feminine in the creation in these alternative Christianities, that she is responsible for the flawed creation according to some of these accounts. So the question you've got to ask yourself is, if we're going to lift up the role of women and say that she's a part of divinity, we better think about what kind of divine feminine we want. Because in this particular case, she's responsible for the flaws in the creation. And I don't think my wife would appreciate it if I walked up to her and said, you know what, honey? Your progenitor is really responsible for why we're in all this mess. That's not a very affirming role of femininity.
Yeah, slow that down. The fact is, when they say the divine feminine, they're talking about God, and these Gnostic texts talked about Father, Mother, and Son being in the Godhead.
That's right.
Some of them had the mother god as an underling who actually created the world and screwed it all up.
That's
okay?
right.
And the fact is that therefore matter is evil and so on. But Dan Brown in his Da Vinci Code is making this sound like this was the thing back in Jesus' day. This is what Jesus taught.
Yeah, and these men suppressed this. They were suppressing this feminine element. It was a way of keeping the women under control. That is a very poor reading of early church history. And let me give you another text that shows you this even more, how do I say it, more vividly. It's a very famous text. It comes from our most famous alternative text. It is the Gospel of Thomas. It is the last saying in that Gospel. It's the Gospel of Thomas, saying 114. That's in case anyone wants to have devotions in it later. Now, I need to issue a cultural warning before I read this. This is very politically incorrect. So I'm just warning you.
But this is what the current scholars, this is one of the things they kind of leave out, but this is part, if you accept what they're saying, you got to accept this too.
Exactly right. And this, I will say to Elaine Pagel's credit, she actually tries to tackle this text, and we'll talk about what she says in just a second. Here's what the text says. Peter is complaining that Mary is not worthy of kingdom life, and Jesus replies, I myself shall lead her in order to make her male, so that she may become a living spirit resembling you males. For every woman who shall make herself male will enter the kingdom. End of saying, end of Gospel of Thomas. So it's quite a climactic note. And the point here is that the woman has to become a man in order to enter the kingdom. Now, that's not a very positive view of the role of femininity. We're just going to wipe it off the map in order for people to get into the kingdom. So when these groups are suggesting that these texts are pro-women, they are selling you a bill of goods.